We're famous.
Oh, you're gonna be famous after this. Your mom and dad are here. Look at that. Both of yours. Wow. I mean, yes. Samantha, Lori, and Alan. Hi. Okay. Are we on YouTube? I think we are.
Yeah.
Ready to start. Hello, everyone. Is it good morning? Still probably good morning or a good day. I wish everyone a good day. And it's a terrific day today because we have some phenomenal guests here today who will be speaking about themselves, about their favorite things that they enjoy doing, about some of their, we're gonna hear some beautiful news today from them that are news to our congregation, not news to their families, but I'm just trying to bring them here in the spotlight. 1 second. Hi, you can see them with me on the screen at the same time. Wonderful. Samantha Cooper and Jordan Friedman, welcome to our program today. I have to tell you, Jordan is not yet officially a Bet Tikvanik, but I really hope soon he will. And not that he's strange to our synagogue, obviously. I mean, his family, members of his family are members of our synagogue, and he has a strong attachment to our congregation. And now, pretty soon, he will have an even stronger attachment to our synagogue. So let me start by introducing Samantha just very, very briefly to all those who are on the call. Most of you know Samantha, and probably I don't have to say much about her. But every cantor's dream is that one day there will be that child who's going to walk in the cantor's office and would want to learn more and more and more, and musically and Jewishly, and do to the best of his or her abilities, and make that cantor, of course the family, but the cantor proud of what he's doing. So that's Samantha. That's Samantha for me, my my top number one bar mitzvah student, yes, that I met many years ago. Samantha, how many years ago? Or we're not going to disclose your age at this point.
2007, I think, was my bat mitzvah.
2007. So we probably met in 2006 or so, of course, because your bat mitzvah was Shabbat Shira, very, very matching kind of Shabbat to your personality, and of course for your family. I think your mom had her bat mitzvah on Shabbat Shira, and you just followed her footsteps in this. It was an absolute pleasure to work with you. I don't have to repeat this to you. You know it over the years. That's when we started, 2007 or 6 in my office, and we went through the tropes, and we learned to read from the Torah and to read from the Haftarah, and it was an absolute pleasure, as I said. Also, I think, Samantha, you were first in many things at Bet Tikva, yes? You were probably the first bat mitzvah wearing talit on the bima during, at least during my time at Bet Tikva, which is not too long. It's only 18 years. But
yeah, and I think
I still remember your nice pink-colored talit. Yes, that's right. You still have it, I hope.
I have it. I still use it.
Still use it. That's fantastic. And I remember that those weren't the days when women or girls could do this at Bet Tikva often. I remember there was a little bit of controversy about it, but we went with it, and you wore that talit so proudly, and proving how strong you feel about your identity as a young Jewish woman at the time. And from there on, your path at Bet Tikva went like this. You started on a high. By the way, heard bat mitzvah, as Mel pointed out at the beginning, Pearl Mother. Samantha sang with our choir in 2007 Shabbat Shira. She sang a duet with me during services with the accompaniment of the choir. A beautiful song. Do you remember what was that?
It might have been Mim Como at the time.
Mim Como, that's right, written by Stephen Glass. You're right. A beautiful song that we're still singing in our services. And then later on, Samantha sang with our choir. So you want to say something from that point on, because you were also part of all the talent shows probably that we've put on in the last almost 2 decades at Bet Tikva, where you really shined with your beautiful voice. But then your career, took a big turn from live performance, I should say, to becoming a scholar, a musical scholar, which we take great pride in, and really, I can't wait when we can start featuring you in lecture series at Bet Tikva as our in-house Jewish musicologist. Yes, I can't wait for that. So tell us a little bit about your career, so we get to know you a little bit better.
Sure, absolutely. So you can hear me all right? Perfect. Okay. So I suppose I could say that I came to Bet Tikva already sort of in the process of becoming who I was going to be. I'd started voice lessons with my parents and family's support at about age 3.5. And I sang my first voice exam through the Royal Conservatory at age 4 or 5. So, I was already very invested in this sort of academic mode of learning about music, of performing. But it really wasn't until sort of second year of my university degree, when I was a voice student at Wilfrid Laurier University, that I realized there was a way to combine both, my music brain and what I was doing there and performance with, Jewish studies, which I was also very passionate about. So I had an encounter in my second year of my program. I'd started to realize I really didn't want to be a performer long term, but gradually I was becoming more invested in music history courses and felt like there was a real lack in acknowledgement of a Jewish music history, of an individual experience historically for, the configuration of Jewish music. And it sort of culminated when a professor brought a sequenza, which is a Latin passage for us to sight read in class, which had very anti-Semitic tropes set in the text. And I sort of it became a mission almost to sort of correct this, what felt like a very obvious wrong. And I started to do research in medieval music history and sort of history of the church and portrayals of Jews in liturgy of the church. And from there, I sort of spiraled out and started researching the Jewish presence on the opera stage. And that became sort of much more my vein of where I was interested in taking the research further. So I applied to PhD programs right out of my undergrad degree, and I was accepted to New York University. And now I'm a historical musicologist, and I'm in the 5th year of my PhD. I'm writing an American music history of the Jewish presence in and around the opera stage from about 1880 to 1940. And I don't know, I love everything I do. I work with a Jewish music organization to organize programs much like this one. It's called the Jewish Music Forum, a project of the American Society for Jewish Music, and all of our programs are free and open to the public. And so I would encourage you to check them out if you have any interest, and I can pop information in the chat if you'd like. But that's kind of what happened to me when I left Bet Tikva. And so performing and singing, while still a big part of who I am, is not sort of my public facing presence anymore. But, when opportunities come up to give back to places like Bet Tikva or to participate in things that are low stakes in terms of singing, I'm happy to do so.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. What an overachiever. You make us all proud for all these things. Really, really. And now let's shift just for a second to your right. That young man sitting next to you that would like to introduce to our congregation, Jordan. Jordan, you had a similar relationship with another cantor in our city, a very, very famous a cantor from Beth David, Marshall Loomer, a good friend and colleague of mine. And I understand you were his student. Is that right? You want to say a few words? I was hoping Marshall can come on today and introduce you in this little talk. But I see he couldn't make it. He told me he's got a very, very busy day with medical appointments and funerals and all that. So I understand that. And I would have loved him to be here just for a moment to talk about you. Let's say a few words, like about your musical career, as well as maybe not musical career growing up. Um, Give us a little background about Jordan Friedman.
Sure. Thank you, Timmy. And so my musical background's a little bit different than Samantha's. We actually did meet through a youth choir, but I'll get into that in just a little bit. So you mentioned I belong to Beth David. That's the synagogue that my parents grew up or got where they got married and where I was brought up as a child. And so Marshall Loomer, he joined as our cantor when I was probably, like to say, 9 or 10 years old. And one of the first initiatives he took was he wanted a youth choir. So he would basically just point out to the synagogue and the congregation and say, you're young, you're young, you're young. Let's gather you all together and try to sing a few tunes that we could perform or to sing rather during the service. And I think Marshall caught on pretty quickly that I was carrying the tunes pretty well. And at the time I had no real practice or education, I should say, in terms of being able to sing with other parts and not sort of transitioning into their part as well. So he wanted to pull me aside and train me a little bit, and it aligned pretty nicely with when I was getting into my bar mitzvah lessons. So generally speaking, at Beth David, it's the ritual director who will take on the students, bar mitzvah students. But Marshall sat me aside and said, you have quite a voice. We want you to, I want to teach you your tropes. So that's, we'll have a beautiful rendition and a couple duets together as well during the service. And so I practiced with Marshall, and we did a duet for the Shema, and we also when I was practicing when I was 12 years old, I had noticed one of the posters that was advertising if I wanted to go to Israel, and it was in big text. It said, "Do you want to go to Israel?" And then afterwards, it said, "Renanim Youth Singers." And I had never been in a group other than Marshall's group before, and sort of turned to my parents. This is probably a couple of weeks into their new season, but they were practicing in Beth David, so it was a natural fit. And I think I aligned one of my practices for my Haftorah with the auditions for Beth David. And so I went and I met Susan Michaels, who was the conductor and ritual director at the time. And she asked me basically to sing a song that I was familiar with, but the only thing I'd ever really sung before was with Marshall, a couple of duets or my Haftorah. So I sang my Haftorah as my song of choice, and I joined Renanim. So
that's fantastic. You know what? I've never heard about that before. I think that's a first to audition with the tropes and Haftorah. But it's very cute and very Jewish, let me tell you. Very, very good.
I sang I Whistle a Happy Tune. at my audition for
So
Renanin.
very different
Very
in terms
different.
of
Yeah.
background experience.
Well, who said the tropes are not happy? You know, they're supposed to be happy. Yeah,
So
very
anyways, I joined, and Susan put me into the bass section, but an octave higher. So I guess a soprano bass. And she came to my bar mitzvah, and she heard me sing the duet with Marshall, pulled me aside the next practices and said, "You're an alto," and that's it. So I guess just before the voice change, we went on that first Israel trip, my first year. That year, Samantha
I had my bat mitzvah, so I didn't go on the trip.
But we continued with Renanim, both of us. And it was in the final year of Renanim, we had another Israel trip, and that's when Samantha and I started dating, and it was in our final season with my final year with Renanim. It only went up to grade 12, where we actually had one of our concerts at Beth Tikva. And
let me try to share a picture from that era. I don't know if I can. I will try. I'm looking for it. It should be somewhere here. 1 second. Does it come up on the screen or not yet? Not really. Okay. I'm going to stop. Sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say, you might be able to like zoom in on the picture, even if you can't blow it up.
No, but I wasn't. Oh, let me try to open it on a different window. Let's see if it's working or not. No, man. I don't know. So let's try again. It doesn't seem to be allowing me to share these pictures.
That's okay. We don't see anything at the moment.
Yeah, but there are good pictures from their Renanim days in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Also Shabbat Shira. There was a concert at Bet Tikva, and I don't know if you guys were dating at that time, but both of you were singing in that choir and did your solos, and it was great. But I have a song here that I wanted to share. Oh, maybe now I can probably share this one. This is Jordan. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Jordan singing in the Renanim choir in 2011 at Bet Tikva in front of our stage. You didn't look much different. You look pretty much the same, Jordan. It's not an embarrassing picture at all. And then let me see if I can find a different one. Miracle of technology. Doesn't seem to be working again. Anyway, but I have here, maybe I can share this one with you while the phone is ringing in the background. A song that...
Oh, you're on mute, Tibby.
Oh, somebody muted me? Okay. A song that that we recorded with Samantha, and I can't remember the year, but I think you should listen to it. She was very, very young. It must have been around her bat mitzvah year. Let's see if this works. Okay, almost.
Working.
Let's do it again.
I think I heard it.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing's working today. It's one of those days when I can't believe it. I can make it work because it's so beautiful, and you should.
It worked for a minute.
It did, and then it stopped. I can't do it. Oh, I'm so sad. Anyway, sorry, miracle of technology. Sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. On normal days, I could do it, and some days it just doesn't allow for it. Let me try again. No, it's not here.
I think this is maybe cute.
All right. So it's a beautiful song, an Oseh Shalom, that Nathan Rosen and I wrote for Samantha. Maybe we can sing it, Samantha, together now. How about that? No?
Not work.
All right, I'll do a few lines of it just because it's just so beautiful. Oh, say shalom. Remember? Shalom b'maroma. Uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru amen. So it does bring back nice memories. We were actually recording in the basement of my old house. We set it up with microphones and keyboards, and we brought in Nathan Rosen, and you recorded. Those were really, really nice times. And I'm so sorry I can't share your recording here with everyone. Now, you started dating, and then a number of years have passed, and this past summer, I've got a really nice message on my cell phone from Samantha. She calls me Cantor Tibby, and I'm trying to teach her to get rid of that Cantor. Just call me Tibby once for and forever. Okay. I mean, we're almost the same age. Yeah, I'm 20, and at heart. And
You've been working at Beth
Tikva for 18 years. So funny.
And I got this beautiful message on my cell phone. We feel like we need to share this with you very quickly, but we just got engaged. So tell us a little about that, because that's really, really nice news for everyone.
Sure, yeah. Well, I feel like I should hand that over to Jordan, that question, because he had these big plans for how this was all going to play out. He's very romantic. He comes up with these grand schemes. Yeah, they're very impressive, but
pretty much we had booked a trip to Australia. This was last February. Obviously that didn't happen, but I was going to propose to Sam while we were in Australia. So the plan, once that trip was no longer, was that I was going to pick a specific date in the summer, and it just so happened that it was a really nice date in the calendar in terms of luck and life and so on. Samantha's lucky number is 7.
making her name is Sheva.
Sheva, so. And it was in the 7th.
It was the 18th.
Sorry, it was the
July
18th
18th.
of.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it ended up being a really nice, memorable date in the calendar. But what actually happened was that so I met with Samantha's parents in advance to make sure everything was planned out. And just going back,
and if they're okay, of course,
exactly.
I'm sure you.
Which brings us back. It's like a full circle with that Israel trip where we started seeing each other. I made sure that, because her parents were on the trip as well, so I made sure that they were okay with the whole setup as well. So it was full circle, I suppose. And the plan was I brought her to a small lake in York region, and basically I made a really nice charcuterie board with her, and I brought out my guitar and played a couple. What I did was on one side of the sheet of the book, it was all these songs that were just like not the right feel for that moment, and the other side, the third song was going to be a song that I wrote for her when I asked her out to prom. And then I added an additional verse at the end to propose to her. So we got to the third song and I proposed to her in the park, and it was already set up. So by the time we got back to Samantha's family's place with Lori and Danny in her backyard, we had a few immediate family members that were there to celebrate. And it was all a surprise for her. So
what a romantic! Oh my gosh, that doesn't sound like 2020. It sounds like a few decades before, when people really were romantic and they knew how to do this. Jordan, kol hakavod. Very nice. Samantha, now you tell us about how you did you faint? Like, no, did you say yes?
Yep. I said yes, of course. After 10 years, you would think that.
Of course. Finally, Jordan.
Yeah. No, so it worked out, I think. And now
Is
we're
there
just
a ring? Can we see the ring? Can we see?
think.
Samantha, can we see the ring or nothing yet? Oh, beautiful. Okay, it's official. That's it. It's official. So what are the plans? When can we look forward for this great event?
Well, we're hoping for summer 2020 or 2022. There we go. We've
Well,
already
summer 2020, it's a little bit
a little
past, but
late for
yeah,
that.
okay.
But summer 2022, we're hoping. We'll see how it all plays out with the pandemic. But
Okay. Now I'm asking you because first of all, you need to book the canter in advance. I mean, you should know we're very busy. We're doing a lot of things, emergency weddings, and all kinds of things that come up. You know, but I see a little bit of a problem here. Like both of you have your favorites, and you know, I mean, I can try to convince Jordan to move away from his favorite, but I don't want to because I like Marshall too much. So I think maybe Marshall and I might have to fight this out. Or you have to go to a neutral cantor like Simon Spiro from the song show. No? Okay, good. No, all right. I
we might
actually just spoke to Marshall.
canter off.
Sorry?
We'll have
Say
to
it
have
again?
canter off.
Okay, we canter that. We're going to have a canter off.
Yeah.
I just spoke to Marshall the other day, and he's just so happy, thrilled for both of you to, first of all, that you found each other, and this is moving now to become a real official thing. And we both can't be happier for both of you. This is really, really nice when two such wonderful young people find each other, and you've got so much in common through your music, and of course other things as well. But Samantha, before we talk about something really close to your heart musically, I want Jordan to tell us about his real career, because I don't know how many of you actually went to Sobeys lately on Clark Avenue, but anywhere you step there on that street, and hopefully nobody twisted an ankle lately, but everywhere you step on that street, Jordan has something to do with it. So tell us a little bit.
Sure. And so after high school, I went to University of Toronto for civil engineering, and so I graduated as a through the civil engineer program at U of T in 2016, and since then I've been working in a consulting firm as a road designer, and specifically with my passion to cycle. I get involved with a lot of projects to do with active transportation. So there was one project that came up in 2019 for Clark Avenue. I was asked to have a very small role in it. I said, no, put everything else. Like, it's okay if I work extra hours here. This is my neighborhood. I'm designing this, basically. So it was a really neat project. We, if you're around Clark, and apologies to Paul Sheldon on the call here, because I think we ripped up part of his driveway for his new condo, but we basically installed cycle facilities in the boulevard, and we narrowed the roadway. It's a new road surface for the entire corridor, and we basically upgraded all of the intersections so everything is accessible and works well for many decades to come. So it's one of those projects that the city of Vaughan is very thrilled about. It's one of a kind, one of I guess first of many network connections that they want to have with cycling. And so I was very fortunate to be involved with the project and see it all the way through to construction. And now I could bike on Clark towards the Sobeys Plaza and back. So.
And now our resident cantor has a way to get to synagogue, right?
That's right. No, well, you know what? There were many mornings when I had to drop off Daniel at Nativot and Ariel at Associated, and I was standing there in line to turn from Clark to Atkinson. And I didn't know who, who should I be so thankful to, but now I can, now I know that Jordan is behind all that traffic jam over there. But if you go today on the street, it's glorious. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for all that. And proudly, we're gonna be driving by Sobeys on Clark, thinking of you and your professional achievement there.
Right. But
Thank you.
remember,
And you know what? Many really successful projects and driveways. If you ever wanna, redo a driveway anywhere else, Esther Crescent. I've got at least one address for you. Anyway,
I was just
so
if you don't like Clark, then I wasn't involved. Just pretend.
Definitely, no. Whenever I don't like, I'm just gonna think of somebody else.
Part of a team. So.
Those who don't know me yet, they should know I love cats. My family love cats. So we have 2 cats in the house, and Jordan and Samantha saw one of them at the beginning of this little program. So if you hear cat fighting noise in the background, you should know that's not coming from their house. It's coming from their place. It's coming from my house. My cats just decided to run around and chase the ball and fight. So anyway, let's ignore them for a little bit, and let's get back to Samantha a little bit. Samantha, tell us about a little bit about your passion about Jewish composers, opera, New York, Broadway, all that stuff that you're working so hard right now. And of course, tell us about you teaching in university now, music, yes?
Sure.
I'd like to hear all that.
So I guess I'll start with the last part of the question, which was about the course I'm teaching right now. I'm actually teaching an introduction to Jewish music for City College of New York right now. And that has been so fulfilling, so much fun. The really funny part is that the textbook we're using was a bat mitzvah gift. When I had my bat mitzvah at Beth Tikva, one of my Bubby's friends gave me this book. I think it was like Discovering Jewish Music. And now it's proving this really helpful resource, I don't know, 15 years later to teach this course. So I was able to tell my students that, which they got a kick out of as well. But it's a full semester course, and we're moving all the way from the biblical era through to the modern period. And we just finished a class on Jewish music in Africa, which was really cool. And we're studying communities all over the world and giving them a chance to check out digital sound archives and get their feet wet with research. And that's been a lot of fun and really rewarding. So that's what I'm doing on the side right now. But in terms of my dissertation, which is kind of my full-time job at the moment, I'm in the writing phase, I'm in the research phase. I'm on fellowships this year with the Center for Jewish History in New York, with the Memorial Foundation for Jewish Culture, with the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada, et cetera, et cetera. And they're essentially financially supporting me to finish up this dissertation, which is a cultural history, the first ever cultural history of Jewish people in the opera world, with a focus on New York City. And the kind of sort of research questions I'm asking are, we know these big stories about Jews on Broadway. We know Jews were very essential to many parts of the music industry, the popular music industry of the 20s, Tin Pan Alley, eventually the Broadway musical, the operetta scene. Johann Strauss had roots in Jewish family roots. But the story we don't hear really anything about is Jewish people in opera at the time. And the story I've kind of begun to uncover is a story of push and pull. There were managers who were running the Metropolitan Opera and financiers, all of Jewish descent. The photographer, Herman Mishkin, was Jewish at the Metropolitan Opera for many years. So it's really a process of discovery of a story that hasn't been told before. And that I think is, worth the time. And then, I get to delve into different population demographics. So people who spoke Yiddish of the period, a language which I learned and picked up while I've been doing this research and while I've been at NYU. People who migrated from all over the world to New York City, opera singers, people in popular culture who were writing parodies about Jews in opera, thinking that Jewish people just didn't have a place in that world. So it's been exciting. It's a process of discovery every day. The research continues, the writing continues, and I'll tell you the conclusions I've come to when I've reached them, maybe in a year or so.
This is fascinating. You're a real treasure. Um, if I remember correctly, Samantha, when you went to UFT as well, or
Didn't know. I went to
no?
Wilfrid
Because
University.
I remember you wrote some sort of a curriculum about or was it a work about cantors that has become a material for? Can you tell us a little bit? That's way back, I think, in your.
I was in high school actually at the time. I guess that was my first real Jewish music research gig of sorts. But I was in grade 12 in high school. I was taking a Jewish history class, and we got to do a kind of research project that could be about anything. And I was at Tannenbaum Chat at the time, the North Campus, which now no longer exists, as most of you probably know. But I started looking into the history of how cantors in the Jewish religion, how that profession came into existence from the Shaliach Tzibur into, the Meshorerim and then the cantorial position. And that was my first sort of little foray into Jewish music research in grade 12. And my teacher from that class also taught at York University simultaneously. And she asked if she could use the paper I wrote to help teach her undergraduate class. So that was kind of neat, I guess. That was my first Jewish music win.
Amazing. Amazing. If I remember correctly, you at some point in your life, you had some aspirations to become a cantor. How about that?
I still thought I was going to do that, to pursue that path when I auditioned for my undergraduate degree. And I told the admissions people, and they were baffled. They were like, we don't know what to do with a prospective Jewish cantor, a prospective woman Jewish cantor. But we'll take you in, we'll train you up, and you can make the decision later on. But I think just by second year, I'd been so disillusioned with performance as a career choice in all of its potential dimensions that wasn't something I saw myself wanting to do anymore.
Well, Samantha, anytime you decide to become a cantor again, I'd be happy to work with you and help you through that. I mean, let's look back just a couple of years ago. You came to High Holidays at Bet Tikva and you sang Kol Nidre, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You know what? Everybody else in the services remembers that, because that was really unique and beautiful and wonderful and meaningful. I wish I would have a recording of that. Probably I could not play it today on this Zoom call because nothing is working for me now from a technology perspective. But that was unbelievable. Even the cantor that you were working that day with, Cantor Sananis from Israel, he was like, wow, what a voice, what a performance.
Tippy, I never told you, but I think Cantor Sananis from Israel actually or maybe he told one of his friends in New York about me, and I got a call out of the blue from this cantor I'd never spoken to before in, I think, upstate New York, and he'd asked if I wanted to come train with him, and I had to say, I'm so sorry, I'm finishing my PhD.
Oh.
But yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, once you finish your PhD, we can talk about it.
Perfect.
Okay.
We can do an exchange. I'll do some kind of music history class or something for Beth Tikva, and you can teach me how to be a cantor.
You know what? We don't even have to do the exchange. I'll teach you to be a cantor with no conditions. How about that?
Excellent. I'm in.
But you will have to run some sort of a program for Bet Tikva because you are amazing, and we can all benefit from your knowledge. Absolutely, not just Bet Tikva, the whole city. I'm looking forward to come up with some sort of a lecture series that you could be part of. And Jordan, you can design the road to those lecture series, whichever way you want. Hopefully with no traffic jams.
But he finished with Renanim and he kept singing, actually for much longer in Toronto than I did.
It's true.
Yes, well, he's still a singer. I mean, we're talking about maybe doing some singing at Bet Tikva these days, and that's still in the books. Hopefully in the next few days we can do some virtual recordings for the upcoming Passover. It's supposed to be a surprise, so let's not give it away entirely.
But at the concert we were talking about at Beth Tikva, that's when Varsity Jews were singing from University of Toronto, and I had just accepted my civil engineering.
Position.
Yeah, exactly, at University of Toronto. So I saw how enthusiastic they were, and I wanted to join their group. And ever since starting with University of Toronto in first year, I've been singing with that group, which originally started as you had to be in University of Toronto, a student to sing within the group. But then as the group alumni continue to want to stay, it's become alumni of U of T or just general city of Toronto or GTA area
Jewish people. Jewish people.
Not everyone in the choir is even Jewish, but we sing Jewish songs, parodies. And I've been singing with them for the last 10 years.
So the
and Varsity Jews performed at Bet Tikva numerous times in services. I remember when Eyal Biton was our music director at Bet Tikva, we took the Shabbat morning service and adopted it to the songs that Varsity Jews was singing at the time. So we did Adon Olam to Mamma Mia, Adon Olam Asher Malach. It was so cool. The whole service was like that. It was a treat. And then Shabbat Shira 2011, the program where you guys were singing Renanim, that was the program when Varsity Jews came on stage right after you. And I'm so glad that they had an impact on you and in your career, on your singing career. So-called. It's amazing to see. Jordan.
And fun fact about Samantha is she was actually in the Varsity Jews for 1 week.
One practice. That was it.
One practice. Okay. You didn't like it.
Well, it was she just so far.
She was in grade 12.
She was in grade 12, and it was all the way in downtown Toronto from Richmond Hill. I couldn't do it. Yeah. But
okay. Jordan, so you were mentioning cycling, yes? That is something that's very close to my heart as well, because I'm cycling to shul, well, not lately on a weekly basis, but hopefully soon we'll start cycling on a weekly basis to shul from Thornhill. Maybe we'll have a let's go to Bet Tikva kind of a ride every Shabbat morning, once things open up a little bit, and we'll get other people from the neighborhood. But first we'll need to teach Samantha how to bike. I understand Samantha is not there yet. Okay.
So ironic given all the work that Jordan does with cycling and fundraising through cycling, but
so that I actually wanted to make this a little segue into fundraising through cycling. And I know there's something very dear to you, to your heart, a project that you're running now for a number of years, very proudly, and doing a great mitzvah. And I really want you to talk to us about it and talk it up so we can be part of it somehow.
Of course. And just I guess a disclaimer, because a few already know about this, so I apologize if it's a bit of repeat information, but I want to at least give a chronological order of how this all unfolded. So you had mentioned my passion when it comes to cycling, and so it's always been a part of what I've done growing up to try and get involved with giving back to the community, but I had never really gotten involved with giving back to the community with something I was very passionate about. It's almost like a job. If you love it, it's not considered work. So that's sort of how this came together. It was a passion, so I was very driven. And so just the background is that my mother, about almost 9 years ago, passed away with she had polymyositis, and it's one of many forms of the umbrella of muscular dystrophies. And so I always wanted to do something in her memory and her honor. She had passed when she was quite young, when she was only 54, and it was very sudden. So our family was very shocked, and obviously to a point where we were almost unresponsive, didn't know what we could do at the time. I had just finished my first year of university, and I was pulled aside by a friend who was also into cycling, and he asked me if I wanted to join him to ride the Ride to Conquer Cancer. That was a ride where it would be 2 days in a row, cycling 100 kilometers. I've never rode 100 kilometers 2 days in a row before, so I knew it was going to be a very big undertaking for me, a physical challenge. But I wanted to do something where I was giving back to the community and something I was passionate about, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do for my mom at the time. So I said, yes, I'll go ahead. I went through this first year, raised some money for cancer research, and I struggled. I got through this first weekend, 2 days in a row of cycling 100 kilometers, and I was defeated. I could barely stand the next day, and I was at a point where I knew I needed to train if I wanted to do something like that more seriously. So I signed up again for the following year, and this year I put in some time training, and I came out of the following year's ride completely refreshed. On the Monday, I was thinking, okay, where's day 3? So it was a complete revelation, I suppose, in terms of ramping up my ability to endure long bike rides. And that was basically the time where I was looking back and thinking, I still want to do something very special for my mom. And as much as I love giving back for cancer research, it wasn't something specific to what she had. That was obviously very niche. I don't really know anyone else who has polymyositis, so there aren't many people that know about it. So part of this was bringing awareness to polymyositis and what she had. And so this was in 2014, I think. A Superman movie just came out, and I was watching that movie, and I was feeling extra inspired walking out of that movie, and I was thinking, okay, why don't I do something above and beyond? So I decided, it was probably a week after this, or a couple of days after this, watching this movie and just doing this 2-day bike ride, that I was going to set out to ride part of Canada. And so I approached 2 of my best friends, and sort of my motto is, once I say something, then it's got to happen. Until I say it, then it doesn't have to happen, because I haven't committed, or I haven't told anyone that it's going to happen. So once I mentioned this to my friends, one of my closest friends said, "Yep, let's do it." So we linked up with Muscular Dystrophy Canada during that summer of 2014, with our plan of riding from Toronto to Halifax. It would be myself riding, and one of my best friends would be the support vehicle. I'd be linking up with him every pit stop to make sure that I'm good to go. And we planned everything out. We called Muscular Dystrophy Canada, and we got connected with one of the leads when it came to third-party events. We created our own website, and I went out the following year in May. We had close to maybe 75 people show up at the kickoff event at our house, and the news came. It was all broadcasted to say, this crazy gentleman is going to ride his bike from Toronto to Halifax, and he says he's going to do it in 3 weeks, and he's raised this much money so far, and he's this close to his goal. And we just kept to a program. It was almost like we'd wake up, we knew exactly what I needed to eat. I'd go and I'd ride about 110 kilometers on average every day. And every 5th day or so was the day off. We wanted to provide a little bit of buffer in case we would fall behind, but we had basically lined up all of our locations of where we were going to stay. We had some people that we knew along the way, family members. We had, there's a website called Warm Showers where people would host other cyclists for free. And it was a great way to mingle with other cyclists and hear their stories, and they would hear ours, get inspired by what we were doing. And so we were raising money along the way. And it was about 3.5 weeks later, exactly on schedule, where I arrived in Halifax, raised a good amount of money for Muscular Dystrophy Canada, met Sam. She flew there to meet me at the finish line. And she has an aunt and uncle that live out in Halifax, so it was a good endpoint. And so that was the first event that I pulled together, with obviously a lot of support from family and friends, with over 250 separate donors. So it was a really nice way to honor my mom and to bring awareness to polymyositis. And so the challenge I had at the end of that ride was we just engaged 250 separate families or individuals. So
where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? So I approached my good friend the following year, and then in 2017 we began opening up the ride. It's a 50 kilometer and 100 kilometer option, one day annually, and we ride it in a group, and we try to inspire others to attempt something else that's physically challenging, obviously mentally challenging, to, like I had mentioned, all the way back to my first 2-day 100-kilometer ride where I was completely defeated. I know what it feels like to feel defeated and feel like I can't achieve that sort of distance. And I sort of use that as a reminder to people that are hesitant to join our ride and effort, and give perspective for individuals who live with day-to-day challenges with different forms of muscular dystrophy. And with that perspective, I think we've done a pretty good job inspiring others to continue this momentum. And now this past year was our fourth annual ride, and we had 52 riders at the event. And to date, we have raised just a sliver below 100,000 for Muscular Dystrophy Canada. So it goes to show it's I'm just a civil engineer. It's not my job to do this, but once you start something, once you plant a seed and really have the drive to do something, it can go a long way. And sometimes it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of support, but I'm obviously very fortunate that I have all of that along the way. And we look forward to continuing these efforts. The ride itself is called Journey for Janice, so it's a very special name, which is very, very specific. It's not a ride for muscular dystrophy. It's not a ride for polymyositis. It is in memory of my mom. And so the story continues. It's we have a website every year, and it says my mom's story, and we try to continue her legacy, and how meaningful she was to the family, and how much she gave back to individuals and the community. So we just tried to continue that effort.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And even beyond donation, there's so many ways to get involved. Like, I, of course, cannot ride a bike. I never learned. It is, my parents joke, it is their biggest parental failing. But it's okay. I volunteer every year at the ride. I work one of the pit stops to make sure riders are safe and checking in with us, that they're all on schedule, on track, they have what they need. And usually, other than last year, when it was more of a limited number of people at the base, we have sort of a nice get together before the ride and after the kickoff. And everyone is invited. It's open to the public. So if this at all interests you, we'd love to get you involved, tell you more about the ride.
In any capacity, like Samantha mentioned, we, in addition to 50 riders, we typically have volunteers in the range of 15 to 20. So there's a role for everyone, and different pit stops, and it's a real community effort. Yeah. And so obviously proud in terms of where it's come, but it is challenging to talk about it. I'm not going to lie. It's challenging for me not to tear up a little bit when I do get into the full story. So I appreciate being able to speak about it in this capacity, and I'm very happy to speak to individuals who are interested in joining or anything like that for this year, following years, and of course,
Jordan, this is
welcome.
an amazing project and story, and the way you were able to take this tragedy, your own personal family tragedy, and turn it into such a beautiful thing, such a mitzvah that would bring hopefully healing to so many others in the future. It is remarkable. Samantha, if anyone had any doubts about this guy before, I think you've got everybody's approval. You know, he's really an amazing soul. Jordan, good luck with this. So there is a website where people can go and get some more information.
Yeah, do you want to send it to Tibby?
I'm happy to send the link. It's not officially launched for this year's ride, but I could send a direct link that would go to if someone's interested in participating or donating.
But if anyone would Google Journey for Janus, yes, Journey for Janus in the near future, they would be able to find this website, correct?
And at the very least, past years up there.
And of course, the projects for the past years.
Yeah.
Truly amazing. Let me just, because I got a permission from Samantha about and making a little bit of an announcement here. Booby Elaine wasn't able to join us today here for this talk, so we're recording this and make it available for her on YouTube as well, so she can watch it anytime. Of course, anyone else would like to watch this program again, you can find us at Bet Tikva channel on YouTube, and you can share this with your friends and so forth. But in particularly, we want to wish good health and speedy recovery to Booby Elaine, who's not doing great right now, and sure, God willing, she'll be able to watch you guys soon on YouTube. What else I wanted to say? You know, there's probably so much more to say. You guys are so young and so accomplished already. Maybe I just make one more announcement before we say goodbye, is that everyone here on the call today, please book it in your calendars. Summer 2022 or before. The chuppah of these two wonderful people in Jerusalem, in the main square, right across from the Kotel. And in case Mashiach doesn't come until then, the wedding might be held at Bet Tikva or at Bet David in Toronto. We got a how do you call it? Cantor.
Oh, a canter off.
The canter off it. That's right. We have to canter off it. Yeah. Anyways, it's been an absolute pleasure to all of us to see you today and hear from you again. We haven't seen you for a while, and you brought back some amazing memories from hearing and seeing you back in a few years ago, and we cannot be prouder to know you and to be your friends. And I see your family members here on the call. I can see how they're quelling here, seeing both of you. And wish you all, I mean, we're coming close to Pesach. Wish you all a kosher and happy Passover.
Yeah.
And I'm going to open just for maybe a minute or two. If anyone has a question that would like to address or to say hi or say something nice, you send a nice message in the chat. You're very welcome to do that. I think I've asked everyone to unmute. Did I? Maybe not. Ask everyone to unmute. If you'd like to do that, please do so. I'm going to remove myself from the spotlight. Any questions?
I think we might as well just take this opportunity to thank you so much for organizing today, Tibby. Thank you to Gail, who is running tech support. You know, my relationship with you means the world to me, and I'm so glad that we've been able to continue it through all these years. And to keep looking for opportunities to sing together, to work together. So thank you.
And thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And if you're interested, tomorrow night, we have another lecture. Samantha, this might be close to your heart. Jewish composers of opera, operetta, and Broadway with Alexander Veprinsky. And for some reason, this program has become so popular. We have 6 installments for this program, and I think this will be the 4th one. And we have over 350 people registered for tomorrow, which is amazing. So you know what? At 500, we're gonna have to tell people they can come, because our Zoom account only allows to 500 people. So if you feel like you'd like to join, please go on our website, or you can find us in your daily email and register for tomorrow's program. Thank you again, Samantha, Jordan. Great seeing you guys.
Thanks for
Have a
coming.
great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.